What's happening? Welcome to episode 1 of Embellish. Very excited. Chris Dobson, Peter Bowers joining as well. We've been trying to get this thing out for a long time. We've had some technical difficulties, some scheduling difficulties, but bottom line is we are finally here. Pete, how the hell are you, buddy?
Doing fantastic, brother. It's been a little bit of a journey. You forgot the little part of that. We're a little bit lazy on certain days too of the week. We don't want to get off the couch to put this together, but happy to get her off the ground and ready to get moving. It's
all right. So
fun.
for anybody who knows, anybody who wants to talk about like what exactly is Embellish, what we're doing, why we're doing it, this is an idea Pete and I've been tinkering with. Just so everybody knows, we've worked together for many years, and basically from that point we've established, I want to say a love for each other, maybe a man crush a bit. Overall, it's. But yeah, no, this is something. It's a platform we've been looking to do. We've just been looking to shoot the breeze. We've got a lot of connections. Obviously, the number one piece for us is we're pretty big sports guys. This won't be exclusively a sports podcast, but at the same time, you stick with what you know, and what we know is sports. So we're going to talk about a little bit. So Pete, tell us a little bit about the
podcast. We're not a fan-based podcast. We're going to give you biased opinions. Yes, I said biased opinions based on what we love and what we believe. And we don't want to be just that podcast that's out there talking about the Montreal Canadiens, about the Moncton Wildcats, about the Halifax Mooseheads. We want to talk every sport, every topic. If you got something, fire it into us. Chris will have all the deets on where we go with the information and updates and topics, but nothing's off the table. I think it's going to be fun. I think we're going to have a lot of conversation.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and I'm thrilled to finally get this thing off the ground. I want to start off right out of the hop. I mean, obviously something that's a little near and dear to your heart. We're going to start with the NFL a little bit. We're going to talk about the retirement of Drew Brees. One, I don't think it's an absolute shocker that this is happening, but overall, as a huge Saints fan, what's your reaction? What are your thoughts? I mean, you can't be upset with the fact that he's finally hanging him up.
No. I mean, again, huge Saints fan, many, many years, been through a lot more painful game-ending playoffs than the Drew Brees retirement, if you know what I mean. It's been, when I read it yesterday, I knew it was coming. If you talked to me in the past, everyone sort of assumed it was coming. Mid-season when he broke ribs, punctured lungs, I think that was the final piece of it that realized, I don't want to go out like this. I want to have a life after football with his kids. What it means to New Orleans. Listen, I think James Winston is going to come in and do the job that needs to be done. This last season, we played an offense. Sorry, we played an offense. We're not a fan base. But New Orleans played woohoo! New Orleans. But we played an offense that really got to the point where a qualified arm in the pocket could control that offense. We had some wildcat. We had, just some mix-up plays. So sad to see him go. I don't think it's going to impact our offense a whole bunch. Just wish him all the best in retirement. And he's already signed on with NBC to do
of course.
Some shows with them.
So do you genuinely believe, you honestly think in your heart of hearts that James Winston can carry this offense?
I think Sean Payton can carry the offense with the tools he has.
Okay.
Yeah, even if you look back at a couple of the games this year and even in the playoffs, some of the play calling is suspect when you're pulling Drew Brees off to put Hill in there to make the plays, right? They kind of shifted at that point knowing that he was injured. I don't think he ever recouped outside of the pocket that presence because he had a fear of what could happen. And, like I say, there's no bad taste in your mouth when the guy retires at 40.
No.
It just goes that. And yes, I think Winston will do the job. Obviously they lead behind that leadership.
Right.
But their defense has stepped up, and they will have to step up again come next year. But It's
All right, but I also think it's probably fair to say, and I mean, you know me, I'm not a Saints fan, but at the same time, I don't think a team has been screwed harder than the New Orleans Saints come postseason time either. And I don't like to go back to the last few years and talk about calls and officials and how it all works out, but I mean, facts are facts, Pete. Facts are facts.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's about the situation of the game. You can go, yeah, there's been plays, there's been penalties, there's been calls that just seem to stack up against one quarterback and go for another quarterback. But
Right.
there's also plays that you just didn't call the right play, and you just didn't have the right personnel on the field. So, it's over. From the Drew
Right.
Brees era, and I don't know what's going to happen game one next year, and I think Winston's there, and I think we can get back to the playoffs and keep pushing.
I wonder if they'll put them against Tampa in the first game. I wonder if that's how somehow, some way they'll try to turn this into like some divisional rivalry again. And I mean, I don't know.
It's a tough one. Anyway,
Go ahead.
I just it's one of those conversations that I know that comes up, and you read the comments about Breeze retiring, and they start talking about gout, and I just don't like the terminology, and I just don't like trying to identify one player. And I'm not saying quarterback, I'm not saying running back, wide receiver, defensive tackle. Just trying to define one player that defines a team. And I don't, like I said, I love Drew Brees, but I don't think he defines the New Orleans Saints.
No, gosh, no, not at all. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a Hall of Famer. He's
Absolutely.
And right. And I mean, he'll go in as a New Orleans Saint, of course. I mean, other than the first couple of years, he didn't play there, but I mean, that's where his home is. That's who he is. I would think that it's probably a safe bet. You're right. They don't define the team, but if you think New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees is probably the first name that comes to mind.
100%. And that's I think that's more leadership now in the last couple of years than performance on the field. But the leadership and what he brings to the field, 4 or 5 years ago, he was on the field with 2 minutes to go. It was a foregone conclusion that we were pretty sure they were going to win. But last couple of years, it was they had to grind for it. So wish him all the best. Like I say, we'll see where it goes next year.
I think he'll absolutely kill it in the broadcast booth, though. I think
Yeah.
Drew Brees is a smart man.
I think so. I mean, Tony Romo's an average quarterback, and he's doing okay.
Well, Tony Romo's probably one of the best booth guys I've ever seen in my life. The only guy I think that would have come close to him would be Pat McAfee. Let's leave Mardi Gras for a minute, and I want to talk, obviously, the big news coming out of Tampa Bay, of course. Tom Brady re-signing, Gronk re-signing. Not that it's a huge shock to anybody, but I would think they instantly have to be favorites to repeat.
I think so. I didn't see any other team do anything drastic thus far, should say,
Right.
that would combat that. I mean, if you looked at the start of last season, took their time to get their feet underneath them, that's for sure. And once they get that offense clicking, their front four is fantastic on the offensive side of the ball. They give that old man time to throw the ball, and he'll torch you if you give him time. And there's no doubt about it. Their defense is stifling. They have all aspects of the game. And I haven't.
Are there any worse fans in the league than Tom Brady fans, though, bud? They're like, come on.
You're going to go down this path, episode 1? Episode 1,
hey,
off-season.
we said this was a biased opinion.
Yeah.
I wish we could get RJ on the show. I mean, if we could have him here. I mean, you want to talk about guys who absolutely are in love with 40-year-old men.
Yeah. He's like, it's just pandering back and forth. I understand everyone supports. I'll call it a superstar, obviously, and
he's the greatest of all time, man. It's not debatable anymore.
Right, but and I'm not debating that, but there's always more to it than just one player, and that's
You're right.
where I think my point is he left when he left the system in New England. He left a great system, and by all means, he's a smart individual on that impact. He goes to a team that has the tools that he recognizes to win, and the fit in Tampa Bay was ideal. And listen, I'm okay with people cheering for other teams, but when you're throwing on another jersey,
oh, God,
that's where
disgusting.
I draw the line. It's come on. You
And
can cheer
just
for
so
him,
the-
but
Right.
what are you going to do when he retires in a year and a half? Throw your jersey out, or now you're a Tampa Bay fan?
Well, now-
What if
now you're a
what if he
fan of
didn't
the retirement
re-sign with
committee.
Tampa? Right?
No,
What if he
yeah,
didn't sign
right.
at Tampa Bay and went to another team? Then you got to buy a third jersey.
Oh my goodness! I would love to see the look on Jeff's face if all of a sudden somehow he had signed with like the Jets or something along those lines. Like, what are you, a Jets fan? And just so everybody knows what Pete's referring to, we've got a good buddy of ours, and he is apparently a diehard New England Patriots fan. And then, of course, as soon as Tom Brady left, it was all, well, I'm a Patriots and a Bucks fan now. And Pete
I'm a
gives
Brady
him the
fan.
gears. Yeah, he's a Brady fan, and that's fine.
Well,
but you don't pick two
listen.
teams. You don't do it.
There's no fun picking on someone if he's not going to respond.
Nah, that's fair. That's fair.
No, it's I give them all the credit for jumping on it, and I guess we're gonna have another year of two-team Patriot fans, but we'll see where that goes next year. You know, I don't want to beat him up on Cam Newton, but
What? No, I will. The hell are they doing? Is there really no other options available?
I just, are they going to work on making him a throwing quarterback again? Like, one-dimensional. And,
Can he be a throwing quarterback again?
I would think he still has some arm left on him, but for
Right.
many years watching him match up against the Saints, he had the legs, he had it all, and then it's just kind of, when you get to the goal line, you know who's getting the ball. I don't know.
Right.
And there's a defense for that, and teams build and prep and build defenses towards scrambling quarterbacks. And if you go backwards, the only quarterback I've seen sustain it over many years is oh my gosh, Casey. Oh my god,
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. Thank you. You
You're
look at.
I was like the $500 million man.
Oh yeah, I know. It's just out of the brain. When you look at him, and then the other quarterbacks, they usually end up QB spy or being able
Right.
to keep an eye on that quarterback so he doesn't torch you with his legs. But he's the only guy that I'm still able to, no matter what plan's drawn up for him, other than what Tampa Bay did in the playoffs, because that was just. Or Super Bowl, sorry. That was just another level of shutdown from that perspective. But
Oh, it was crazy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Last topic I want to talk about the NFL. Go ahead.
yeah, but just staggering back from Cam Newton,
Yeah.
it's different from picking up from $1 million to 17 or whatever it was. So it's
Right.
That's
He's
the
got a
head
hell of a lot to
scratcher.
prove.
I mean, what did Washington get Fitzpatrick for? It's you look at it and you shake your head, but you think, man, he probably impacted more games than Cam Newton did last year.
Look, as an Indy fan, I'll tell you right now, I've got a huge question mark on Carson Wentz and which version of him we're going to see. You talk about spending money on QBs, but that's just, you have to take that gamble. I mean, you're going to reunite Carson Wentz with Frank Reich. Indy needs a QB. I know there was a lot of speculation about Andrew Luck coming out of retirement. I myself am guilty for it. I wanted to see it. At this point, it's just a pipe dream. But I think, to me, the biggest thing I think I'm happy to see at this point from an NFL standpoint is I'm disappointed that Green Bay didn't get through. I thought this was their year. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. He was the guy. A few mental lapses at that point, too, especially during that Tampa game. I mean, you're never going to get an opportunity. Tom Brady's not going to throw that many picks in a game ever again. Green Bay's defense stood up that way. And then there was rumors about Aaron Rodgers talking about possibly leaving Green Bay. I'm glad that those rumors kind of got put to rest. Because a guy like that, I don't want to see him leave. It's like, look, same idea with Brady. I'm happy he signed in Tampa because that's where old people go to basically get close to retirement. They go to Florida. But as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, I don't. It's just an era. I don't want to see him leave Green Bay. I mean, outside of Brett Favre, He was the guy. And, I'm glad they kind of look like they've worked things out. And I think they're going to try to get him a ring before this is over.
Right, and I agree wholeheartedly. I always think of the Ray Bork factor. Wanted a cup so bad he left Boston. And people say, "Oh, he got his cup." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right," but he was just a piece on a really good team in Colorado, and it doesn't tarnish his career, but it's just kind of these like you couldn't do it with your legacy in Boston, and so you got traded out to Colorado. Same with Rodgers has his Super Bowl, right? And
Right.
And it's like you're there, finish it, build it, finish it off, bring a couple more pieces in, you're there. I would like to see him finish his career in Green Bay and stop this merry-go-round of quarterbacks in the last 2 years that we've seen.
Yeah. All right, well, let's leave the gridiron, man. I mean, let's talk. Where do you want to go from here? We can go anywhere. Where do you want to go?
Where did we go? Oh man, I don't know. We could. It seems like we're being our fan bias, but people shitting on Carey Price.
It's not possible. It's not possible to shit on Carey Price right now. And I didn't mean to cut you off there, but this is so. Pardon my language, folks. This is passionate for me. Anybody. I mean, look at his last 6 starts. I think even 4 starts. I think he's 4-1-1 now, or anyway, I don't know the record, but he's back. He's back to like a 956 save percentage, like a goals against like a 1.25. Look. You're a goaltender. This is a prime example. I mean, there was a lot of things that kind of came and go. There was a lot of rumor speculation. I mean, obviously when they fired Stefan Waite, and the Habs were in full panic mode right now.
Just before we go too far, let's just correct something. There is nothing that Stefan Waite can teach Carey Price.
Right. Right.
So, and like I say, the side of it from a goaltender perspective, sometimes shit just doesn't go your way. Right. And he's out there thinking he's doing everything he's been doing the same for the last number of years. And sometimes the bounces don't go your way. Sometimes the rebound doesn't get cleared. I'd like to see the percentages on first stop chances, or the rebound goals. Like, his job is to stop the puck, and right. The defense job is to help clear it. But he's still doing everything he can do to win. So for people to come across and say he's not into it, he's not vested, or he's that's not the way pro athletes are wired, in my opinion. Like, they go out every night, and it's got to be monotonous at times to go out there when you don't want to, or you're not feeling it. But that's not an option. They have to find that jump, and I think he's out there doing everything he can. And I still think Montreal is overachieving with the young talent they have, and when they start to go on a little skid, people start to realize, they're not as good as they were expected. I don't think Montreal expected to be as competitive as their fans expected them to be this year after stringing together a couple of wins.
I think Montreal is built, and I mean, obviously the goal is to make the playoffs, but I'll tell you right now, this is a playoff-built team. I mean, they've got 4 solid lines. I don't know how they're going to address the Ben Sherratt situation now that he's out 6 to 8 weeks. But overall, like, going back to Carey Price, I mean, Pete, you know us. I mean, I'm the biggest Habs fan as it gets. But I always tell people this, and I'm a hockey fan first, Habs fan second. But nothing, and I mean nothing, pisses me off more than how ignorant Habs fans are. I mean, this whole, when you talk about Carey Price and what he was going through and the battles he was struggling and everything that was happening, people were talking about his gear, and very well, absolutely. Goaltenders are weird cats, man, and you can attest to this. You guys are very superstitious people, but this stank of Price versus Halak years ago, what was taking place, and of course, I love Jake Allen, New Brunswick boy, absolutely love him. Having a great year with the Habs for the starts that he had, but everyone was like, oh, we should dump Price, and yes, his salary is a handcuff situation. But give it up with the Carey Price is going to Seattle nonsense. It's not happening. It's not happening.
No. And, the unique thing about the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they still bring people into the building. People come to see.
When you could get into the building.
Exactly. Well, they're coming for the experience. You want to win a few. You want to go deep. That's management wants to. But as long as they're keeping people in the seats, obviously this year's an exception and past. But they don't just ship out marketing pieces like Carey Price because he's having an average year, which still puts him in the top 5 in the NHL as goaltenders. Right. You just don't. And
arguably in the world.
Yeah, like it's just, and that's going back to being biased and being fans, and that's biggest and toughest thing this day with the platform that we're using today or through Twitter's. How many people are out there flinging shit just to get a response, and how many people are flinging shit because they believe it? It's the challenge, and there's so many great armchair GMs out there that really think they are better at the job than the 31 guys that are doing it today. It's hard to follow along when you have people that make comments of yeah, Carey Price is the shits.
What makes me happy
work.
is looking at. Well, I'm going to use Tyler Toffoli, prime example. Tyler Toffoli is now second in goal scoring in the entire National Hockey League now after last night, behind Austin Matthews.
Right.
Right? Like,
yeah, that's
for $4.5 million a year. Anyway, yeah, no.
Yeah.
You talked about people throwing shit, and I just, it blows my mind because the social media aspect. I'm going to went on a bit of a rant for a second, and that was, nothing upsets me more than these keyboard warriors who think that their shit don't stink. They think that they can just bully people around because they're behind a keyboard, and I was a prime example of that last weekend, man. Like, we were talking off camera a little bit, and it irritates me. I mean, you're a dad of 2 girls. I've obviously got a young family as well. It's petrifying to see the society that our kids are growing up in today. I called a QMJHL game between Moncton and St. John this weekend. I was doing color, and I'll talk about embellishment. The name of our podcast, for it. See what I did there? Brought it right back here. But it was. We made a bit of a homer call in overtime. The officiating, and I'm not even afraid to say it, was not very good. There was some bad calls made. And I've been extremely professional for 7 years while I've been on air. Yes, I was wearing rose-colored glasses a little bit. I may have gone a little too far. I didn't do anything dramatic. I didn't say anything foolish. But I just said, you can't call that in overtime. Put the whistles away. I mean, it's an absolutely terrible call. You can't do that. And I do get why. But I upset so many people, Peter, that I was getting blown up messages in my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter feed. People were commenting and making comments to me to prove that, in fact, I'm not even going to, I deleted most of them because the number one rule in media is never read your own comments because honestly, you'll just get ripped to shit and it's just not worth it for your own mental health. But I've got broad shoulders, but I saw a couple messages that came on through. One of them was threatening my kids. The other one was and it terrified me, man. It terrified me.
Yeah, it's terrifying in the fact that people have the gumption to write these things and not read them before before they post them. And I mean, what's that person doing when they watch an NHL game? If you watch a Leafs game on a Saturday night, there doesn't come much more bias than those announcers. It's
how many times do you think Ray Ferraro gets messaged in his DMs ripping him apart? Pierre Maguire probably got ripped apart a little bit sometimes, but overall.
Yeah, so that's the unfortunately that's the platform that's been provided for these people. And again, I don't know if it's to actually critique and comment on something that's happened or just to see if they could be the one to blow someone out of the water. Do you know what I mean? It's,
right.
To your point, it's the best and worst thing about social media is the platform it is to have people comment from outside of your group, and I just don't think we take enough care and caution into what we're putting out there in the world from a commenting perspective, and it's
because they don't have to.
Yeah, you just hope it changes. I thought of this comment. The worst thing about social media is it gives people who don't know shit about shit a platform to talk about shit. Do you know what I mean? It's just they may not even follow hockey, but they don't like what you said, and next thing you know, it's blown up. But that's
the beauty of going viral. You don't have to know it, but if you go viral, people will think you know something.
Right, and that's I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go too
far. No, that's
that
fair
because it's yeah. Oh, good.
No, I appreciate it. I actually want to talk. Go.
I'm just going to throw a little plug because I don't know how far this goes, but Songwriter Circle. I don't know if you're a local music guy, but during the whole pandemic, we've been obviously shut down. I used to attend a lot of songwriting circles down at the casino, Bruce Guthrie Songwriting Circle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway, they've been doing them virtually the last every other week for the last 4 weeks, I think it was, through Bruce Guthrow's website, and it's Bruce Guthrie, Matt Minglewood, Bray Isabel, she goes by now, from Cape Breton, Lenny Gallant, like fantastic. You know, if there's no hockey to watch on a Friday night, 8 o'clock on a Friday night, you can buy a ticket for $20 and watch them, and it's been something to actually buy the time, and it's been fun. Like we put them on the big screen and tune in the audio and just have like a kitchen party watching them. It's been really good. So if you find something looking to do on a Friday night that you're not watching an early hockey game, you know, BruceGuthrie.com, have a look at the Songwriter Circle. It's been entertaining. So
that's
just
a
throw
great
that
plug.
out there.
No, I love that. It's a great plug. You know, it's. I don't. Obviously, we're not going to talk about the pandemic. I mean, everybody knows the hell's been going on for the last year, but you know, it feels like, you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel at this point. But I've loved, you know, from a social media standpoint, everybody and like the collaboration. You talked about the musicians. You know, Facebook groups were getting created, and like, you know, I was watching whether it's the East Coast Kitchen Party or whatever was happening that was taking place all virtually. And I thought it was so wicked to see even a guy like Classified jumped in while all these local musicians are playing, and then all of a sudden he jumps in and starts cracking open a couple tunes with like the Maritimes from way back in his album days. And you know, to see music bringing people together, it's, you know, how many times some of the best moments of your life, I'm sure, are sitting around a fire with a drink in your hand listening to somebody jam on a guitar.
Oh, buddy, so
right,
go way back. You know, many years ago, we used to do an event through work, and the Digby Classic, Digby Golf Classic, obviously in Digby, and one aspect was the musicians. And you'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, and the guys would be out back on the deck still playing guitars. You're talking like Charlie Acord, oh my gosh, Bruce Guthrie would have been there, Mitch McDonald, Johnny Reed was there one year. And it's just seeing them on stage is one thing. Seeing them doing it around a campfire and seeing how much they enjoy it. It's not like they have to be doing it. They want to be doing it to entertain at that point, and it just fantastic. Matt Anderson.
I'm glad you brought up Johnny Reed, because I, in my life, have never, and I mean ever, I had never seen Johnny Reed a whole lot, and then he came to the Avenir Center last year before the whole city shut down. And Pete
puts on a show.
Not just puts on a show, but I'm talking how many women are absolutely in love with Johnny Reed. Like women my mom's age, and like everybody. Like, and my mom's young, but overall to see like that's their forte, and I've never in my life seen anything like that. Like basically they treat him like it's Justin Timberlake for the young crowd. Like it's mind-blowing to me how many people love this man.
Yeah, and he puts on a good show. I mean, I've
puts on a hell of a show.
Seen it. Love his music or not, the entertaining part of it, the showmanship is fantastic.
And he's a great dude, man. He's a great guy.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he's just a guy that picked up a guitar, realized he could sing, and wants to entertain, and that's what he wants to do. So, yeah,
musicians, man. I think we got in the wrong business, Pete. We should have been musicians.
Yeah, I can't sing. I can't carry a tune. Can't.
Man, there's an auto tune for that. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
A few more drinks and I'll start singing. You know that.
I do know that. So what else is going on, man? I mean, obviously things have kind of opened up a little bit. I mean, what's the scene like in Nova Scotia right now?
It's there.
Yeah.
Restaurants are open. People are moving about. Still tentatively. I think everyone sees some reprieve coming, some light at the end of the tunnel. Again, don't want to get into that side of the pandemic and opinions on that.
No.
But bars and restaurants are open to reduced hours, and people are getting out and starting to socialize a little bit.
Good, man.
hockey's back from a minor hockey perspective. I think it's
have you been to the Scotia? Oh my goodness, have you been down to the hockey game? Have you seen any Mooseheads games so far since they've been back?
I've seen a handful. Yeah, it's a different.
What's it like with what's it like with the crowd experience? Obviously, with like 25% capacity, it's got to be different though, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's and I think we talked about this beforehand. It's just the three teams you got: Cape Breton, Charlottetown, and Halifax.
It's boring.
Just playing through. I even for the players, they got to be like, oh my god, give me somebody else. Give me somebody.
Well,
else
especially because this is what we were talking about off camera, and that like, especially when a team like Cape Breton is stacked. I mean not Cape Breton, Charlottetown's stacked. I mean they're super good, and when they come on in, and I think their record's like 24-2 right now or something foolish. Like they're literally rolling over the Maritime Division. So look, good for Jim Halton, good for them, and good for everything going on, but it's got to be getting old. It has to be.
And like I say, like they're traveling back and forth, probably, spending money on that. Like I say, there's a couple hundred people in the Scotiabank Center.
Yeah.
The experience, you're watching hockey. Yeah, it's cool to watch hockey. It's cool to watch, developing talent come up. But at the same point, when there's no environment in the arena, it sure does take away from the experience. Like,
right.
I think we were making a comment like, if you want to hear what players really say during a game, go to a game now, because what's carried off the ice through the arena is pretty easy to hear.
And for your record, if you've got young kids, probably not the place to take them. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Now, I was a guy on the other side who I would have paid more for an NHL package if I could have heard the players mic'd up and I could hear what these guys are saying between the benches. But we're living in a society, in a world today, because, I've been to a couple Cats games here in Moncton as well. Saw a game in St. John, and you're right, it is clear as day. If players are unhappy, you will know it. It basically resonates through the entire building. But you are right, though. It's good to see live hockey. It's good to see live sports, but it's different. I don't know how the league's going to keep going. I understand that we're on the upside and things are going that way. We'll see a President's Cup here. Personal opinion, we're talking about biased opinions. I think it's about a 2% chance we see a Memorial Cup, which at that point you have to ask yourself, what the hell are they doing and why are they doing this? But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree. There's definitely not revenue in this for the teams.
Imagine owning a team. If you were a team owner right now, and you've got, again, I understand the situation. It's kind of out of your control, but you're leaking money.
I'm trying to understand the interest in it. I'm trying to understand why they want to keep icing teams at 800 people in the arena. And don't get me wrong, they're not selling out their 20%. They're not. Like, there's always tickets available down there. It's not like, there's only 20% available and we're going to sell out all the tickets. Nah, it's not happening.
Right.
I just don't see the benefit. Yes, players are still developing, and if you look in the case of like Justin Barron, like
right,
playing in and out, he's looking to move on, and it would have been, and this is sort of the same capacity of what the OHL has not started. So a lot of the players that have been drafted in the OHL are playing in the A, and they're getting great experience playing with bigger, better guys, playing a bigger schedule. You look at someone like Justin Barron, if the Q wasn't playing right now and matching up against two other teams, he would be in a farm system where he could be actually developing at a higher rate.
Which is where he should be.
Right. Now, I understand what the CHL has done so they can actually keep their product up with drafted NHL players and marketable teams. But during the pandemic, and what you really need to do for these kids' future is let them develop at the highest available today.
Of course.
And it's not right now playing the same teams over and over. And I think it would be beneficial for these kids that are not going to be around next year to go and get a taste, right?
Well, it's funny you talk about attendance because I actually pulled up the attendance numbers this morning. I was looking at something, I tweeted it out. So average attendance right now, obviously Moncton leads average attendance right now per game at 2242. Halifax behind them 1513, which is basically just based off arena size and capacity. But overall, and I understand what these numbers mean, but I was actually surprised to see the Halifax numbers as low as they were. Because I think, what is it? It's 25% capacity, Pete? Is that what they're operating at?
I thought it was 20, but maybe it's 25.
Okay, maybe it's 20. Because I look at it, like I said, I mean, obviously with a bigger arena size, but it just goes to show how many, Haligonians, I guess we'll call you guys, actually, we're taking their time out, making sure the measurements were done properly. Now, I know that there were some games that were played with 0 fans, so that probably skewed the numbers a little bit.
Sure.
But then you got St. John.
The funny thing is on that side, sorry.
Keep going. Go ahead.
From a Halifax perspective, those are pre-sold tickets, and there's
right
35 suites in there. So if those suites are sold and the tickets are sold, and as part of that, that's included in the attendance. Sometimes, depending on if they're scanning on the way in, it's paid attendance is different than actual attendance.
Of course. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And don't kid yourself, folks. Those are the numbers they go on. So for you guys too, this year was a first come first serve too, I believe. Eh? There was no season tickets other than your suite holders.
No, correct. Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I shouldn't comment because I don't exactly recall what they did because they were going to offer some game packages for the fans. For the season ticket holders.
Yep.
I don't know where that went after the Atlantic bubble burst. I don't know where that went after they determined that there was only going to be Cape Breton and Charlottetown coming to town. So I really don't know where they went from that. So I won't comment.
No, that's fair. And then continuing down the list, St. John's at 1452, Acadie Bathurst is at 1119, Cape Breton's averaging 939 fans a game, and Charlottetown's averaging 746 fans a game. Now, of course, every team in Quebec's still not allowed to have fans. Plus, they bubbled for a bit. But yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm not trying, and I'm actually tied very, very, very tightly to the QMJHL, as you know. So I obviously I kind of bite my tongue a little bit in regards to how I feel about it. But overall, like I said, we're blessed. I mean, fans, the 22 or the 1,500 fans that get into these buildings are blessed to see live hockey. You're right. But it's just not the same. The atmosphere is not the same. You talked about the suites at the Avenir Center. Same idea. I was there. Like I said, I was calling the St. John game last weekend, and I think there might have been 2 suites that might have had a couple people in it. Nothing too major. But you're right. Pre-sold tickets are the numbers they use for this. And, the Wildcats, for example, were advertising as sellout. And I was like, and I understand from a marketing, I get why you do it. But it's almost a slap in the face to the fans. Like, it's not a sellout. In fact, even after a point where they announced a sellout, I could still go on to Ticketmaster and buy. There were still 32 tickets available.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it's, again, you start to think, is that revenue worth it? Not necessarily like, okay, well, you want to put people in the seats. That maybe this is the time to introduce people to the game that haven't been to a game. Was that the right experience for them? I don't know. Selling 1,000 tickets, is the revenue that important? What's that, $15,000? I don't know what ticket goes for nowadays.
Man,
probably
ticket pricing in Moncton has increased. An average ticket is $30 now in Moncton.
Yeah, so if you're selling 1,000,
well, think about it. If you're an adult with 2 kids, I'll use your family as an example. You guys go to a Wildcats game here. It's $30 for your adult tickets and $20 for your kids' tickets. It's $100 for you guys to see a Quebec Major Junior Hockey League game live in action right now.
It's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. And I know that, like, in certain markets, emails went out to the season ticket holders asking, hey, look, we understand that times are tough. Times are tough for us as well. Would you be open to a slight ticket increase so that we can give you a product on the ice? And at the end of the day, my answer to that is, and I'm saying this again, this is my own opinion, please don't shoot the messenger. I think that's absolutely foolish. I understand why you do it, but at the same time, everybody else who's buying these season tickets are going through the same struggles you are. Right? So for you to increase your ticket sales, and I'm all for big business, I get it. I understand why you did it, but I just don't think it was the right time to introduce something like that.
No, you're trying to cut losses by increasing prices on probably your most faithful fan base, because
Right.
they're still willing to come at a reduced capacity at a higher price. That, you know,
Look, raise your French
you-
fries by $1. Raise your water
Right.
by $1. Get people in the building.
just not the beer.
Beer's already expensive at Moncton, but I think it's like $10 a can. They're okay.
Crazy. But yeah, I agree. It's
shit.
and hopefully this is the last year. Hopefully, come September,
We're all
vaccinated,
jabbed with a
back to
vaccine and
normal,
ready to go.
ready to go. You know, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see, and everybody's hoping for it. Everybody wants to get back to being social with people outside of your 10.
All I know, see, we're at 15 in New Brunswick now. We're at 15. We've increased it by 5. I just want to be able to get on a golf course with you and cross a border. Like, that's all I'm looking
Yeah,
for. I want to
that's
get
true.
to Nova Scotia. That's all I need right now. I got a little taste. I got to see JR last week. He was in town from St. John working on some business stuff, so we grabbed a quick bite to eat. And, you know, obviously, it sucks. It sucks when you can't see your buds. I mean, yes, the social media side of things, the internet side of things, the fact that you and I can do this virtually thanks to technology is absolutely incredible. But it's not the same, man. I just want to be on a golf course crushing a blue lobster with you somewhere and just watching somebody like Chad just fall into the
cursing
woods.
his
Like
fire.
that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh man, like I said, hopefully the bubble pops. Or sorry, shouldn't say pop. Comes back around by the end of June, mid-June. We can, you know, get to New Brunswick, get to the island, get to Nova Scotia, and bring some outdoor
close.
normalcy. How about that?
Yeah, we're close. I mean, based off the last few numbers too, I saw popping in. Obviously, without going into it, but like Atlantic Canada's looking very good right now. Very good.
Yeah, you know, other than the news out of Ontario that they're sitting their third wave, hopefully we can get that vaccinated before it moves. But on to
Awesome,
more
brother.
brighter things, you know. Keep the conversation positive.
Yeah. Hey, man, drinking with you on a golf course is as positive as it gets.
That's
buddy.
pretty
That's all I'm
positive.
gonna say.
That's right.
Oh, shit, buddy. All
never a
right,
bad
man. Well,
time.
you know what? I think it's a good spot for us to end, man, for our first show. We're at a little over 40 minutes. You know, this has been fun. Obviously, we're going to do this once a week. We'll be a little more structured moving forward. We just wanted to get this thing off the ground and have some conversations, have some good laughs, and you know, we want to hear from the fans. So anything you want to do. In fact, if you ever want to join our show, let us know. I can send out links, and you know, we'll be taking questions live on air. We'll be doing everything we want to do. So yeah, make sure you reach out to us. I will put all the platforms. We're going to be on all of podcast platforms. We'll be on YouTube. We'll be on Apple Podcasts. We'll be on Spotify. We will be everywhere there is to be. Just look for Embellish. It'll pop up. Yeah, we're excited, man. And so I hope you guys enjoy the journey we're going to take with you guys. And if there's anything you want to hear, something you want us to talk about, like I said, just let us know. Send us a tweet. I'll have our handles up. And at that point, yeah, I think that's it, man. So, Pete, this has been a lot of fun, man. I'm excited to get this thing off the ground.
Yes, for sure. Like I said, been a long time coming. Look forward to evolving Embellish and bringing more people, get them involved, and just having conversations, hearing what the people have to say.
By the way, Embellish, before we go, got to give the man full props. This was a Peter Bowers idea. This is where it came from. This was a great name for the show. Yeah, I was reading the slogan when you sent it to me. But anyways, yeah, that's it. That's going to wrap it us for episode 1, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
Stay cool, but don't freeze.